organized enough events to know that organizers are never quite sure. I was always a big one to believe in putting a lot of people in a small room. And, this is a fairly large room, and I'm so glad to see everybody here. You've already been told that the Orange Walk to End Gun Violence originated in what happened at Sandy Hook. 20 young children and their teachers were murdered in an innocent suburban school setting. I think that's important to point out because I think fed by the media we get sometimes a distorted picture of where violence happens. It can happen anywhere and to anyone. And as Wendy was describing, sending small children to school, needing to teach them how to be quiet. My daughter is a second grade teacher in the Grand Rapids Public Schools, and it is no small trick to get 26 second graders to be still for anything. And she does a skillful job of not terrifying them and trying to think of activities that would be very, very quiet in case the code red was real. This walk started because of Sandy Hook, but it continues because of the proliferation of gun violence in our society. We live in a society that disproportionately values a false reliance on private ownership of guns as a means of settling scores, of living out fantasies, of yielding to impulse. And in my personal opinion, because of an erroneous reading of the Constitution. As Dr. Michaels pointed out, and I'm not great on statistics, after a while I think the numbers numb us to the faces and the reality of what we have to deal with. But we live in an immediate local community where there have been at least 17 murders this year. And people think that's good because their numbers are down by double digits. Where children have killed children and their neighbors because of unsecured guns that are available. Where social events erupt in gunfire, where people take their own lives in despair and the lives of family members in acts of domestic violence. We live in a nation where 33 people are murdered with guns daily, and another 53 die daily because of accidental death or suicides because of guns. We live in a country where Congress has prevented the Centers for Disease Control from researching gun deaths as a public health threat. They actually enacted legislation to prevent CDC from doing research. We live in a society where the AFT is prevented from sharing data about guns with law enforcement and prosecutors on the basis of protecting the privacy of gun owners. We live in a society that fails to have meaningful legislation against the ownership of guns by domestic violence perpetrators, where funds are cut for prevention and mental health services. We live in a society where the few laws we have to ban weapons in spaces like city halls or schools or theaters or bars, as Wendy said, are being eroded actively by state politicians beholden to the gun lobby. By being here today, however, even in the face of these grim statistics and the grim reality that we live in the face of, we are expressing hope. St. Augustine, a long time ago, said, "Hope has two beautiful daughters. Their names are anger and courage. Anger at the way things are, courage to see that they do not remain there." The power at the heart of Mom's demand action is the anger and courage that accompany our hope for change. Our demand for action is fed by the anger we feel at every senseless, preventable gun death. It is anger that refuses to accept the status quo, that refuses to let epidemic gun violence define define us as a society. It is an anger that refuses to believe change isn't possible. It is an anger that refuses to let fear govern our lives. And that's where courage comes in. It takes courage to demand, to act. Moms are supposed to be nice, I guess. We are stereotyped as undemanding. But those who think that do not know us. Every single day, moms are brave and do things they thought they would never be able to do. And we do them because we are moms. So here we are today, demanding action for sensible gun laws. We have some ideas. We believe if you are on a no-fly list, you should also be on a no-gun list. How's that for a sensible gun law? We believe that no one should be able to acquire a gun legally in any venue without sufficient time for a thorough background check. We believe that emerging gun safety technology should be required for incorporation in the manufacture of new weapons. And we don't want to hear about how that leads into profits. We believe that Congress should lift its ban and require the Center for Disease Control to research gun violence as a public health. We believe that the Congress of the United States of America, our elected representatives, should once and for all repudiate its financial ties to the gun lobby. This is what we as moms demand, and all of those of you who stand with us demand the same thing. You don't have to be a mom to want change. We believe, for example, that hunters who abide by licensing laws, seasonal game restrictions, and safe storage practices are all our allies. We believe others are too, police officers, veterans, first responders, who know firsthand what guns can do. Dr. Michaels was eloquent in talking about that. But each of us must take action. If we each pick one aspect of this issue to become very knowledgeable about and committed ourselves to educating others about what we have learned, things could change. If each of us had our congressional representatives, our senators, our Lansing representatives on speed dial, things could change. No political battle is ever won overnight. We have to commit to advocating for sensible gun laws over the long haul. We know that the mass shootings of 20 children and the mass shootings that preceded and followed Sandy Hook were not enough to move Congress and Lansing. We know that deaths like Jerlene's sons do not move legislators. We have to be in their face. We have to be there. We have to stand. If we commit ourselves to the ongoing tireless action of demanding sensible